Hey guys, how you doing? My name is Humberto Granados. I wanted to start off with for this assignment. I wanted to do a little bit different than I normally did. I wanted to focus on the New Orleans cultural and social aspects within the city. Just a little bit of background on it. There's been a lot of migrations throughout the New Orleans history. A lot of it coming from France, going back to its Creole roots. Because of it, the tourism attractions have increased and has become part of its economic income within the urbanization of its historical roots. Going through online, one thing that I found little little intriguing was that New Orleans has always been looked at as one of the home base for supernatural events. A lot of it dealing with the history within voodoo. We see now on TV shows and movies. For example, the Vampire Diaries, the originals. Even as far as back as in '95 with the Interview with the Vampire. The thing with that is that because of its mysterious roots and so culturally involved with its residents, the historical crimes or historical storytelling that it's had throughout the years is allowed it to be linked with modernized entertainment and drama series and drama adventures. Um, one could be considered as, for example, the French Quarter Vampire Tour, which goes to one of the items that I looked at was when the Carter brothers were arrested and tried for being vampires, for serial killers. Go and look at the story on that one. The Between the 1900s and the Roaring 20s, New Orleans was booming with its population. It was one of the busiest ports, and a lot of the country's economic floodgates was through the New Orleans port. It also allowed for the urbanization for the local area to relocate to due to the high rising jobs. For example, in 1900, the population for New Orleans was 287,000 people. The residents increased by 1930 to 458,762. A lot of the rising in jobs allowed for a lot of immigration throughout the United States to New Orleans, which assisted in this economic boost. But backstory on this is it's pretty simple. Is victims were being apprehended and held as captive, and the Carter brothers, John and Wayne, were actually cutting their wrists and drinking their blood. They were using that as an excuse for them to give them eternal life. Whether it's true or not, who knows? It's supernatural events that can be explained. You just have to believe it. If you do, you don't. Which of course during that time it was a high rise in everybody's beliefs. But basically, what happens? Individuals, each young lady escaped and was followed back to the home in Royal Street and St. Anne, where the officers did find that there was 4 half-dead victims tied up to chairs, and then 2 other bodies wrapped in blankets in another room. The issue that allowed that to happen is that because of the vast population that New Orleans had, a lot of the officers were being focused within this tourism and its vast population that it had, going after the cabarets and the main local areas where young individuals were hanging around. But I mean, this is one item that is looked at as far as what some crime in New Orleans' history, or some story that someone heard has created to the social aspect. As far as what we see, what we think, what we hear of New Orleans, we automatically think, oh man, everybody deals with voodoo down there. And it's not true. A lot of the residents do not. But there is different types of cultures there that do allow for a modern train of thought to have a different experience, or a different this rich history. It's a key environmental change that assists with the city's economic growth. Believers, want to experience the tourist attractions and go on. You can look on the things to do in New Orleans, and they have an entire different page that you can go to, and it has all these different tourist attractions where people around the world come down to visit because they want to get that experience of the so-called supernatural within the city. And a lot of it's the French Quarter, Midtown, the business district, and people, add economic fund, or add to the economy within the city, just to go and experience these carriages and unique tours, whether it's the historical aspect or even the supernatural experience that some people may have. But it goes back to that the city has been able to capitalize on a lot of the historical issues, historical crime, historical background that dates back to the early plantations and first explorers, down to from Marquis Lafayette going down there, and just having the big tie roots within the city. But it's a little different experience that I actually enjoyed looking into New Orleans, because you don't hear about it as often unless you like to venture into the what ifs, or how did this story became apart, and it just gives it a different experience as far as what a visitor would do, what would actually enjoy looking into within the city. But all right, guys, if you have any questions, feel free, let me know. And like I said, this was a little bit different. I wanted to do just to see what something new I could find within the city that's outside of what we always hear with the destruction within the levees, infrastructure, and flood plans and all that. But let me know what you think. Thanks, bye.